do to have him with us, of course. So now we're going to take some time to turn within and get centered. So I invite you to silence your cell phones so they won't cause you any distractions or difficulties during our morning celebration. And I'd like to invite up Reverend Judith Fleener, who's going to do the opening for us right now.
What a beautiful day. The glory of being next to ones we love, the sun shining fully on the land we love. In this moment, I recognize that infinite power, that infinite presence that surrounds and delights and loves us constantly. And I center specifically on that infinite presence as Holy Father. For today is the day that we're honoring that energy which lives within each being, that energy of protection, of strength, of power, of love, holding and embracing us constantly. And I honor the goddess side of the divine as we live into solstice and the highness of the day when the sun falls bright. Remembering that with every longest period of time, there is also a shortest period of time. And in God, there is no time. In this infinite energy, light, love, joy, health, healing, and power, which is in and through and all things. I am one with that. It is the very nature of my being, as it is the very nature of the being of every being on this earth. We are all that energy pulsing of God, love, light, power, joy, strength, healing, chaos, and order. And so in this knowing of who we truly are and how we truly connect to that infinite in every moment, I just claim for this time together that whatever each soul, whether watching this in the future or present in this room now, be uplifted by what they hear, what they see, what they feel, because we came together as community today. And I claim that the words of Reverend Mary this morning be God-guided, that it is her as the vessel allowing God to flow through her, speaking exactly what an individual needs to hear. And I claim a shift in consciousness for each one of us, that we remember in all our daily activities that we also are that vessel, and that everything we do is an emanation of that divine energy coming through our smile, through our twinkling eyes, through our hands, and through the mental capacity that we are endowed with, being connected with that infinite mental capacity that is the divine. And so, as the goddess likes to play and delight in this time of solstice, we remember also the Juneteenth celebration, that celebration at one time did not exist. But today, we honor and we remember. And so whatever it is that each individual needs to remember from their past, to take them forward into a future that is bright and brilliant and glorious and abundant. This is the consciousness change I claim today. And so as we move into this service, I just give thanks. I give thanks for this community. I give thanks for Daniel Nimad and the music. I give thanks for Reverend Mary. I give thanks for Paula and her team that set up every day. I give thanks for this glorious building that we are allowed to use. And I don't take any of it for granted, but I know that the divine is working here for our good and greater good. And so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Thank you, Judith. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, that's what I want to do. Come on, you can do it. Well, okay. We'll take it from there. We did that. And now we're doing that. Yep.
This song isn't one that I would normally sing alone or as a solo. I would normally invite a room full of people to join with me. So you are certainly invited to sing with me wherever you are, or to just listen. I consider it a slightly subversive song, to be honest, because it's just all too common to be told or to believe that the thing we're looking for is out there in the mall, in the bank account, in the housing market, on the plane to somewhere, in the vacation, in the relationship. And this song suggests, to the extent, of course, to which I'm willing to believe it and feel it, but it suggests that the things I'm actually looking for are feelings, and those feelings, that sacred love feeling, is here all the time. It's not a radical or new thought, but it is something that helps me remember to breathe and remain calm and surrender a bit. So here we go. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. Want to sing that with me? I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. Again. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is sacred love. Sing, I will leave this day, I will leave this day as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this day as it is, go inside to find my God. inside there is peace. Inside there is peace, joy. Inside there is joy, more than enough. Inside there is more than enough. Peace. Inside there is peace, joy. Inside there is joy, sacred love. Inside there is sacred love. One more verse. I will leave this life as it is. Here we go. I will leave this life as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this life as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will go inside. Go inside to find my God. I'll go inside to find my God.
All right. So as we're living out loud, this month we've been looking at following the sacred spiral of spirit. And so today we're talking about finding the center of the spiral. So if there's a tornado or a whirlpool or a whirlwind, and as it turns, everything on the outside and on the edges gets tossed all over everywhere. If it gets into the middle, it gets spun around. But if it gets right into the center, it's absolutely still. So when we go to the center of the spiral, metaphorically for ourselves, we're moving deeper and deeper into the center as we go in. And we're coming from the center as we're moving out, without resistance flowing outward into the greater whole. It takes a certain amount of courage to be somebody's father. How many of you fellas in here are dads? Dads, stepdads, foster dads, adoptive dads. Would you stand up, please? All you guys who are dads. Now wait, don't sit down, don't sit down, don't sit down yet, don't sit down yet. Did you all get pinwheels when you came in? If you didn't get a pinwheel, make sure you get a pinwheel. There you go. I'm always looking for things to give the dads. The moms, we know it's going to be roses. The dads, every year, it's like, and I got to tell you, thanks to the Frost family that did the altar, their daughter, Bridget, assembled all of these pinwheels last night. So we thank Bridget and we thank the Frost. Now, if you are a grandfather, would you remain standing? Let's acknowledge the granddads. And if you happen to be a great-granddad, would you remain standing? Hey, Jerry! Woo, 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 woo! Yeah. I won't ask for great-greats because I don't think we have any of those. Now, if you're a mom of any sort who served as a dad during your life, would you stand up? We want to honor you also. Some of the moms have done double duty, so we want to acknowledge them too. And if you want to grab a pinwheel, you can do that also. When we are beginning this process of finding the center of the spiral, we don't always know what we're doing. Sometimes we need a little extra help to find it. We could get turned around on the way somehow. We need a little light. We need a little, and so as human beings who have a limited range of vision and light, we sometimes assume that other creatures are the same, particularly this little fellow. The fellow says, when my grandson Billy and I entered our vacation cabin, We kept the lights off until we were inside to keep from attracting pesky insects. Still, a few fireflies followed us in. Billy whispered, "It's no use, Grandpa. The mosquitoes are coming after us with flashlights." We need a little extra light sometimes. I think the first time that any of us, male or female, discover we're going to be parents, anybody that is looking at becoming a parent has moments of elation and enthusiasm and terror. And that doesn't end after the child comes. There are still those moments of elation and enthusiasm and terror. And I've discovered that even after they grow up, this happens if we're parents. Now, my son is celebrating Father's Day today. His son will be 16 in 2 days. And so as I watch this, I've watched these. My own father died when I was 3. I have some memories of him, but not a lot. And so most of my experience with fathers has been watching fathers in my family, fathers of my friends, and so on. My former husband, his dad had a great sense of humor and loved to cook. Passed that down to his son, who passed it down to our son, who is now passing it down to his son. Great sense of humor. Just discovered recently he likes to cook. So there you go. And so as we do that, we're always delighted to discover that there's some bit of us that our kids have taken up or inherited or taken on that's on the good side. I mean, we can often see flaws that they got from us or other family members that we wish they didn't have. But it's the good stuff that we're so delighted to see that we're carrying that stuff forward. And so we're always moving toward that center of the spiral. And we don't really arrive there during this life journey, because if we did, then we'd leave. And I guess when we do, then we're done with this part of it anyway. But we want to be able to actually go forward and live the life we're here to live. And that requires a certain amount of courage. So when we look at moving along our life path, it's easy for us to get discouraged because we can't see what's coming. I remember seeing in my mom's diary, after she passed away, I saw what she had written when my former husband and I separated, and my son was 5. And she had written in her journal, "Sometimes life seems so unworthwhile." The sadness of what was happening was not just affecting our experience, but it was affecting everybody around us in this circle, in this spiral of family and consciousness. So in order for us to keep going forward when things look difficult, we have to have certain qualities, because it is a little scary to look at the future and not know what's coming and not be sure that we can manage it. So we need certain qualities in order to keep going, in order to not just get stuck at the edge and say, "Oh no, I'm not dressed for this. I got on the wrong shoes," or, "But I have my briefcase," or, "No, I can't. I just can't do that." So we need certain qualities in order to go forward. One of them is persistence. We need to be able to keep going when we think that it's time to bag it and give it up, and most people let go too soon. So we need a certain element of persistence. Think wasps. Have you ever had a picnic outside with meat? Yeah, they seem to love my plate especially. Wasps are very persistent. It doesn't matter if you cover it up, if you move it, they will still scout around for it. Think of mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are these tiny little things, and they can zero right in on where there's a warm-blooded something. They are persistent. Also bees, which of course we're really grateful for, because if they weren't persistent, we wouldn't have all the other stuff. So we want that continuing. And George Lucas said, part of the issue of achievement is to be able to set realistic goals. But that's one of the hardest things to do, because you don't always know exactly where you're going, and you shouldn't, right? Because if you're going to live a full creative life, it's better if you discover things as you go along. So we need the persistence that allows us to have stamina, that allows us to pace ourselves rather than trying to get there all at once, and gives us the courage to hang in there when we feel dubious or frightened. We also need vision. If we don't necessarily have to know exactly where we're going, but we have to have some idea of what we want to bring into our experience or what we want to find or accomplish. A Japanese proverb says, vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. So we do want to persist and keep going forward, but we want to have a clue about what we're trying to bring forth, what we're trying to achieve. And also we need a certain amount of passion. You know, I think of, do you ever watch parents who go to a game their kid is playing in? Or at another level, who coach at those games? Now, the kids catch their passion from the parents who love the games and are so enthused. Some of them go overboard. We won't go there this morning, but what we want is that level of enthusiasm, like, I enjoy this, I like doing it, I want to do more of it, I want to get better at it, and that passion becomes contagious. So we want to have the passion that gives us the purpose, that allows us to learn a technique and keep us going forward in our vision. Those things, the purpose, the techniques, and the passion are all part of our vision. But we also need support. I know in America, we like to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. We like to think of ourselves as self-made. But that is not remotely true. There is not a soul on the planet who hasn't had massive amounts of help and support in the unseen as well as in the seen, no matter what the circumstances of our lives look like. And the more we look to that and welcome it or ask for it or appreciate it, the more of it we get. Ben Zander said in The Art of Possibility, the life force for humankind is perhaps nothing more or less than the passionate energy to connect, express, and communicate. To connect, express, and communicate. We want to be able to have a response from other people to what we're doing. We want to be able to be authentic and put our real selves out there. We want to be able to know that what we're expressing is received by someone, that they can actually reflect it back to us. That's what gives us the juice of fulfillment in our lives, is that connection. And to really connect, sometimes we have to be vulnerable and ask or invite or allow other people to come in and bring us their wisdom or guidance or their practical advice about what to do out of their experience. So we're also looking to the Father within, like that archetype of patience and wisdom and courage and humor and helpfulness, that sort of that balanced Father archetype. But we all carry that. So we need to bring that out for ourselves as well as allowing it to come to us. The Father within, that's where our strength for these particular things comes from, our persistence, our passion, maybe. So we want to engage the Father within as well as welcoming all the available support that we can possibly get. Are you with me here so far? So what we don't want to do is get tangled up in the obstacles and challenges. Now, we need to have obstacles and challenges because they bring us useful information in terms of what needs to be faced, because sometimes the little ones help prepare us for bigger ones along the way, and they're all things we need to move through to accomplish. So as we do that, we discover abilities we didn't know we had, or we gain strength that we needed. And that humility of being vulnerable and allowing people to help us actually helps to make us stronger. It's not that they do it for us, it's that they're believing in us is something that lifts us up. This is what our practitioners do for us. They can believe in us when we don't believe in ourselves. In fact, during our anniversary celebration weekend, I was sharing some things that some of our former members or current members had said. And one of the practitioners who got nurtured here and went off to other things wrote to me and said the thing that helped her the most when she was here was that people saw her and believed in her before she could see and believe in herself. And her ability to be vulnerable enough to notice that and let it in is what allowed her to make that difference. And so it is for every one of us. When I was in high school, I remember that I didn't have any idea what I was going to do when I got older, and I didn't have any sense of what my gifts or abilities were until the high school hired a drama teacher. And we started doing skits and improvs and plays even. And the drama teacher said to me, "You're good at this." Now that was the first time I was really aware of somebody saying to me, this is an ability that you have. And I thought, wow, here's somebody who knows how this stuff works telling me I can do something. And I was really happy about that. So that became the direction that I went. But if nobody had ever said that to me, how would I possibly have known? I look at today, and even when my son graduated from high school, it was almost as if everybody expected the kids would know what they wanted to major in if they wanted to go to college, or what they wanted to become an expert in if they wanted to go into a trade school, or what kind of work they wanted to do. How would they know unless they'd had a chance to taste something? So a lot of times we don't discover what's ours until we're out there in the world, just kind of randomly like a pinball machine, bouncing around and sampling stuff. And at some point the universe goes, "Here, try this." And there we go. That's something we can do. That's something we like. That's something we can go further with. Henry Ford said, "Obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off the goal." They're always there. If you take your eyes off the goal, you can't see where you're going. The obstacles and challenges can scare us so much that we go into hiding and we don't realize that they have a purpose. And that purpose is to give us info, to reveal our abilities, to allow us to be so humble that we're willing to be helped, and to gain the strength that we need to do whatever it is. So there's a purpose to those obstacles, but also there are pitfalls. Each time an obstacle arises, there is an opportunity to run away, to ignore it, to deny it, to give up. All of those things can be pitfalls. Now, the flip side of that is ego. One of the pitfalls of encountering obstacles is ego, thinking we're too big for this to be a problem. We're too wonderful, we're too loved for that to bother us. And then we discover, oh, oops. Or having an underinflated ego, where we're always apologizing, we're always doubting ourselves, we're always saying, "I'm not good at that," or "I can't," or "I don't think I can do that." I can remember dating a guy who, I had a car that had to go from Occidental into Santa Rosa, and he had a truck that it could be loaded onto the back of. Now, I don't know if you've driven the roads between Occidental and Santa Rosa when you're not on the highway, but they are very windy. And I said, "Oh, I can't do that." And he said, "Sure you can," and promptly sent me off. Half the way there, I was afraid I was going to go off the edge, and I was cursing him. And then when I finally got there, perfectly fine, and everything worked, I went, wow, I hate to admit it, but he was right. I could do it. I don't know if I could do it again, but I did it that day. And that was a bit of information I hadn't had before, that it was actually possible for me to do that and not drive off the cliff. Grant Fraser said, "Life is full of obstacle illusions." Sometimes we think something is too big an obstacle, or we think it's an obstacle and it's not even really there. So one of the pitfalls becomes our refusal to grow. No, I can't. And so we won't. which might really be the answer. It's not I can't, it's I won't. I won't try at all. So we give up, we abandon it, and then we never find out what would have happened if we had gone forward and done it. I don't know, maybe I could have driven off the edge of something, but I didn't, and that was good. This fellow tells this story. He says, when I was a Boy Scout, we played a game when new scouts joined the troop. We lined up chairs in a pattern, creating an obstacle course through which the new scouts, blindfolded, were supposed to maneuver. The scoutmaster gave them a few moments to study the pattern before the adventure began. But as soon as the victims were blindfolded, the rest of us quietly removed the chairs. He goes on to say, I think life is like this game. Perhaps we spend our lives avoiding obstacles we have created for ourselves, and in reality, exist only in our minds. We're afraid to apply for that job, take violin lessons, learn a foreign language, call an old friend, write our congressman, whatever it is that we'd really like to do, but we don't because of personal obstacles. And then he says, don't avoid any chairs until you run smack into one. And if you do, at least you'll have a place to sit down. So we want to move beyond those apparent pitfalls into a greater possibility. So the reason that we bother at all with this is because we were made to break through obstacles, to teach ourselves by breaking through obstacles. That's what we're here to do. And because that's true, if we don't do that, we never really feel satisfied with what we've done or what we've contributed. It seems like it's not enough. Doug Larson said, establishing goals is all right if you don't let them deprive you of interesting detours. I love that, because the interesting detours actually then contribute something to becoming part of the goal. As I've talked about before, those detours are not without purpose. We just can't see it at the time that we wander away, right? So when we are walking that sacred spiral, we get personalized downloads. We get personalized information because we have something in mind that we're trying to get to. We need to keep going toward that as the personal information starts to be revealed to us. And as we do that, we get renewed, we get jazzed, we get refilled along the way because we have cheerleaders around us, or people who believe in us, or we have practitioners who keep reminding us of what the truth is, or mentors or friends. As Henry Stanley Haskins wrote, and this has often been attributed to Emerson incorrectly, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. We are made to break through. And so as we do that, and as we break through more and more, as we become renewed, we are actually empowered with a sacred calling to make a difference. That what we are about and what we're doing, however large or small, matters in the universe. Mother Teresa said, it doesn't matter, this is paraphrasing her, but she said, it doesn't matter whether what we do is large or small, but it is very important that whatever we do it with great love. So that's really the key thing. In order for us to go to the center of the spiral, we need all those qualities. We need that support. We need really the obstacles and the pitfalls, but we want to learn more and more to travel with great love so that all the successes and failures we have, when we fall down, when we get back up again, when we embarrass ourselves terribly, when we feel ashamed of ourselves because of something we've said or done that we got caught saying or doing, then we have that possibility of loving ourselves back into place again and going forward rather than staying down when we've fallen down and hoping nobody will notice we're on the ground. I skied off a cliff once. It wasn't a real high one, but it was kind of a cliff. And I remember when I went off of the edge, There was a huge path below and people coming around the path like this, and here I am airborne coming toward them. And when I hit the trail, my hat flew off, my skis came off, my gloves and poles went flying, and I was in the middle of the path with people, trying to ski around me. And all I could do was laugh because it was so ridiculous. I just hoped I wasn't endangering anyone or they didn't ski over me, So I retrieved myself. But my friend who had been behind me said she got panicked when she was skiing along behind me and suddenly my pink hat disappeared. And I imagined what that looked like for her. So I don't know what that had to do with this. I guess embarrassing ourselves and then laying there hoping nobody will notice that we've embarrassed ourselves. But we really don't want to abandon our own path, because that then leaves us feeling unsatisfied, regretful, unfulfilled. They always say on people's deathbeds, they don't regret the work they didn't get done, usually. They don't regret the meetings they missed, necessarily, but they regret the times they didn't connect when they had the chance. They regret the times they didn't try something, and so they never found out what it would have been like. We're all still here breathing, which means we're not done trying yet. There's still stuff to do. So I want to share a story with you. Oh, wait. Where did it go? Here it is. Ernest Holmes wrote this in 10 Ideas That Make a Difference. Ernest Holmes, our founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, said, emotionally and religiously, we lean on a God bigger than we are and who is as a father to his children. Philosophically, we lean on a God who has values, purpose, and who is present in every act. Logically, we lean on a God who must exist. The truth is that which is. God has to be certain things, and scientifically speaking, we lean on a God demonstrated in human experience and demonstrable more or less at will, a universal principle of mind or thought. It seems necessary that the intelligence of the human race draws from a larger field of intelligence. We don't know that we can do something or that we can't do something until we're engaged in doing it. And sometimes, even if we can't get all the way to where we thought we wanted to go, we can make so much progress along that path that we wouldn't have been able to make if we hadn't faced some of those obstacles and kept trying. You know what I mean, yes? Yeah? So I want to share this story with you. And this is about persistence and passion and help. The little country schoolhouse was heated by an old-fashioned pot-bellied coal stove. A 7-year-old boy named Glenn Cunningham had the job of coming to school early each day so that he could use kerosene to start the fire and warm the room before his teacher and his classmates arrived. One cold morning, someone mistakenly filled the kerosene container he used with gasoline, and disaster struck. The class and the teacher arrived to find the schoolhouse engulfed in flames. Terrified on realizing that Glenn was inside, they rushed in and managed to drag the unconscious little boy out of the flaming building. He had major burns over the lower half of his body and was taken to a nearby county hospital. From his bed, the dreadfully burned, semi-conscious little boy faintly heard the doctor talking to his mother. The doctor told his mother that her son would surely die, which was for the best, really, for the terrible fire had devastated the lower half of his body. But the little boy didn't want to die. Glenn made up his mind that he would survive. And somehow, to the amazement of the physician, he did survive. And yet, when the mortal danger was past, he again heard the doctor quietly speaking with his mother. Since the fire had destroyed so much flesh in the lower part of his body, he told her, it would almost be better if he had died, since he was doomed to have no use at all of his lower limbs. His mother refused to let the doctors amputate. But unfortunately, from the waist down, Glenn had no motor ability. His thin, scarred legs just dangled there, all but lifeless. Ultimately, Glenn was released from the hospital, and every day his mother and father would massage his little legs, but there was no feeling, no control, nothing. Yet his determination that he would walk was as strong as ever. When he wasn't in bed, he was confined to his wheelchair. One sunny day, his mother wheeled him out into the yard to get some fresh air. And this day, instead of sitting there, he threw himself from the chair. Glenn pulled himself across the grass, dragging his legs behind him. He worked his way over to the white picket fence bordering their lot. And with great effort, he raised himself up on the fence, and then, stake by stake, he began dragging himself along the fence, resolved that he would walk. He started to do this every day until he wore a smooth path all around the yard beside the fence. There was nothing he wanted more than to develop life in those legs. Eventually, with the daily massages, Glenn's iron persistence and his resolute determination, he did develop the ability, first, to stand up, then to walk haltingly with help, and then to walk by himself, and then, miraculously, to run. Glenn began to run to school. He ran for the sheer joy of running and being able to run. He ran everywhere he could. The people in town would often see him run by on his way to who knows where and smile. Later in college, Glenn made the track team, where his tremendous determination paid off. He received the nickname the Kansas Flyer. Glenn went on to become one of the greatest U.S. track stars of all time. The Kansas Flyer set world records in the mile run in 1934 and the 800-meter in 1936. He received the Sullivan Award in 1933 as the country's top amateur athlete, finished fourth in the 1932 U.S. Olympics in Los Angeles, in the 1500-meter, and won the silver medal in the 1936 Berlin Olympics. In 1938, Glenn Cunningham ran his fastest mile in 4 minutes, 4 seconds, and 0.4 of a second. He had earned 12 of the 31 fastest mile run times on record. That is passion. That is amazing. I don't think that most of us have had obstacles that great. Thank God, because I don't know that most of us would actually have that kind of determination or persistence. I doubt that I would have. How about you? And yet, if he could do that, then what's to stop any one of us from facing whatever looks like an obstacle right now and saying, I will find a way with this. It may not produce results of this magnitude, but just taking that attitude and looking forward, we can create amazing results. So let's resolve to have a little more passion, a little more persistence, a little more courage. Rely on the strength of that presence within us, which is all-powerful throughout the universe and infinitely loving. That's what we're here for. That's what it's here for. And for all of it, let's do it with great love. Namaste. Thank you. Okay. Let's now turn within and anchor this in prayer. So recognizing that there's one infinite presence of life, of consciousness, of power, of love, we know that there is nothing else for us to be made from. There is only spirit, not spirit and. As spirit contemplates within itself, the result is form, individualization, multiplicity, incredible diversity, and we are that. And yet always at the heart of us, always at the core, is the one. We are ever connected to one another to the earth, to the universe, to the infinite. And because this is true, I know that every one of us has within us the passion, the strength, the courage, the willingness, the resolve to go forward on our personal path and to meet each obstacle with fortitude, with support, with enthusiasm even, to take it on and move beyond it. We are grateful for this capacity in every one of us, no matter what the conditions or circumstances are. We are grateful for all possibilities and for our unique path. So we step forward on that path this morning. The very next step we take in courage, with gratitude, knowing that we are surrounded and uplifted by incredible and unlimited support within and around and all throughout. And so with gratitude, we receive it, we welcome it, we allow it, we ask for it, we let it be. And together we say, and so it is. And please stand and join me now in the morning affirmation. So we say this as one voice. At the center of the labyrinth, I take time to receive the guidance of Spirit. With the path of sacred spiral, I do the same. The spiral moves me down and inward to receive my guidance, then up and outward to give my gifts using that wisdom. The center of the spiral, like the center of the labyrinth, is a place of peace. And so it is. You may be seated. And now for all of us, I want to invite the ushers to come forward. This is our time of sacred giving. And we want to especially, as we bless the offerings this morning, one of the things we want to include to bless is our fathers, no matter how good or bad they were, all the fathers in the room, and the infinite presence, all fathers of every kind, everywhere, and the Divine Father, in gratitude that there is such a thing as fathers and fatherhood. We bless the gifts that come forward from all of us and the way in which they're given. So if you would like to text an offering, you can use the number that's up on the screen. For those of you in the room, all the forms of giving are on the lower left side of your back side of the bulletin this morning. And I want to let you know, too, that it is summer. People have gone a-wandering. Some of them are not on automatic giving. So if you ever feel like throwing in extra, we are really thrilled to receive it. And so we're going to bless all of this morning by saying this offering together. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is.
Well, it is Father's Day, and for me, it's my 52nd year of having a father. It's my 11th year of being a father. I am the proud daddy of a boy named Jude, and one of the most interesting things I've learned from Jude is to be aware, more aware than I've ever been, of the values that I hold highest. Because one of my favorite quotes is, "What you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say." What you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say. And I think that holds true with Jude every day. Well, we, my wife and I, absolutely value, we would say that we value kindness above all. I don't think that we made Jude a certain way. I don't think we're that powerful. But it does turn out that he has an innate kindness to him. We received a phone call from a teacher of his very early on in his school. And she told us about a moment that she'd had in class where a boy who was really struggling had sat still through reading a book. And the teacher told us that when she finished reading the book to the entire class, our boy raised his hand and said, "I think Evan did such a good job listening that he should get an extra point today." And I told Jude that a sentence like that seems easy to say, and doesn't cost anything, but it made a difference in that boy's life, in Evan's life, and you'll never know what difference it made. Small difference, large difference, there's no way of knowing. But you and I are in that, we're in that game, all of us, together, all the time. I didn't say that to Jude, I'm saying that to you. The things that we do speak so loudly. We hold the door for somebody or we don't. We extend forgiveness to somebody or we don't. We call to check on somebody or we don't. We have these choices to make. And on Father's Day, for me, it's a question not only of, am I doing the best job I can do, taking care of the basic needs of my boy, keeping him clothed and fed and doing his homework and so on, but am I kind of, I don't mean to sound poetic, am I weaving a web of a certain kind of life, of a certain feeling to life that I personally have observed to be a pathway to the happiest, most meaningful, and most contributing kind of life there is. The values that we're living by, are they the values that I'm wanting to instill? So here is a song inspired by that phone call from the teacher on this Father's Day 2023. Lately I've been thinking about what motivates me to give a couple dollars to a stranger on the street, to hold the door, carry groceries, help a neighbor in need. When history repeats itself in headlines every day, solutions never big enough for problems that we face. As a man, as a dad, what difference can I make? 'Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a favor or a quarter or a smile. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I can do one thing worthwhile. Yeah, I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. Sure would help if our boy went and got an MBA and took care of his artist mom and dad in their old age. But let's face it, Wall Street probably isn't in his DNA. But when his first grade teacher said she wanted us to know, it's Jude who always comforts any kid who sits alone. There's just so much pride my heart can take. My retirement can wait. 'Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a fortune or a pension or a prize. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I'll have done one thing worthwhile. Yeah, I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. I don't want him to think the world is his to save. It's too much pressure anyway, it can't be done. Yeah, I don't want him to think he has to be a saint, 'cause the truth is saints don't have any fun. Mostly I just hope, my boy, you'll come to understand. No 401k or GPA can make a happy man. It's having roots, doing good, helping out where you can. So put down roots, do some good, take somebody's hand. And you'll know better than most what really matters, what makes living this life worthwhile. And there may come a day your own kids will remember how their granddad used to say with a smile that he raised. We raised a kind child.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just love our people. It's just a wonderful thing to be able to.
It just made me think of my dad.
Oh, yeah. Well, happy Father's Day to your dad in the universe.
He was a kind man, so somebody raised him well.
Somebody raised him well. So we do, all of us together, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, receive this offering with great gratitude. We send it into the world with great gratitude and with love, with the intention that the love that it goes with ignites love everywhere that it goes. And so it is. If you're with us for the very first time this morning, I want to invite you to stop at the back table here and pick up a welcome packet. Inside, you're going to find one of these blue cards. If you fill it out and turn it in back there, Amanda is going to give you a little book. And the little book is called Nourishing Thoughts. We give you that as our thank you gift for your being here this morning, and also as an invitation and enticement to come back and be with us in the future. But in the meantime, it's a great tool to have handy when you need an uplift and reminder of what the truth is. I want to thank everybody who helped make this morning so lovely, particularly the Frost family and Bridget, who assembled these wonderful pinwheels. Oh, and I want to tell you something about this. Karen brought these. She said that God bless you, she just finished Prac 2, Karen Frost, and she said that their instructor used this a lot to demonstrate what happens when consciousness expands. That it's still your consciousness, but the more you expand it, the more space you have to allow more wisdom and good to come in. Isn't that great? Great metaphor. So there's a huge one over here if you want to breathe it in and get a little, then we have those moments too. So let's give everybody a hand who helped pull this together this morning. All right, the Women's Drumming Circle is coming up this Wednesday night, and that is at Unity and Marin from 7 to 8:30. If you have questions about how it works, I don't know if Lori's going to be around after service, but if she is, you can ask her about how the drumming works, and you can register at the website right there. Also, I'm going to be teaching Exploring the Roots of Science of Mind. This is Emerson, Troward, and Hopkins who influenced Ernest Holmes the most, and they couldn't be more different from each other. Holmes used to say about Emerson that for him, it was like drinking water. He said, "This is as close to my own thoughts as I shall ever come." And whenever anybody asked him how to get involved or learn about the teaching, he would give them a copy of Emerson's essays and say, start here. Troward was about mental science, about explaining how creation existed and what that meant. And it's mind-blowing if you can stick with him. His sentences are long. Hopkins was a mystic. And so sometimes when you're reading her, you have to let your mind sort of float in order to try and take in what she's saying because it's so ethereal. Holmes said she was the only mystic he ever knew. So if you'd like to see what the roots are, the real roots of the science of mind, who those teachers were that influenced Ernest Holmes the most, and of the three of them, Emma Curtis Hopkins is the only one he actually met. The other two he met through their writings. Come and join the class. It's really great to see the bits and pieces that Ernest Holmes took and put together to create the science of mind for us. Also, this week's evening meditation is going to be visioning, and that is at 7:15 on Zoom. You can find the link on our website calendar. So I'd like to invite the practitioners now to surround the room. And I want to remind you that both Dana and Karen are serving at the prac table this morning, and they're available for prayer after the service. Take advantage of that. It's a wonderful gift you can receive from them. And now know that we all surrounding you, and including each other, are enfolded in this prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes and go within, as we know right now there is one. It is right here in this room. It is right next to us. It is within us. This one is whole, complete, perfect. Each of us is a unique individualization of it with gifts and talents and abilities and quirks in combinations that have never been before. Like the most beautiful, unique flower. That's each one of us. And so today, as we honor dads, we also take a moment to be grateful for the self that we are in all of our uniqueness, warts and all. We are grateful for the tremendous gift of life and for the opportunity to connect with other souls in a deep, meaningful way. We're so grateful for this learning and this opportunity. We release this prayer into this beautiful day and step out into it with gratitude and joy. And together we say, and so it is. Please stand and join us for the closing blessing and song right now. So we say together, I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is.
All right, here's a song to sing together to close. Thank you again for having me. And I have done this one for you and with you at least one time before, but it feels appropriate for today. I don't know why. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy singing it. It's called I'm Reaching Out. I'm going to press play on the track right over there, and let's sing it together. You ready?
Yep.
Happy Father's Day. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. Sing it again. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul.
I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm going deep to feel the infinite. I'm going deep to know the divine. I'm going deep to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already there. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul.
Rising up, you ready?
I'm rising up to feel the infinite. I'm rising up to know the divine. I'm rising up to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. Oh, I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. Last time. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul.
Yes, we are. Thank you for singing with me. Thank you for having me. Have a great week ahead.